Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Guess what? We have been cutting up in the kitchen again. We are canning sweet potatoes. So it was the last minute. Don't pay my kitchen or myself no mind. I am a little bit tired. It was a lot of work cleaning up I don't know how many pounds of sweet potatoes. Washing them off, peeling them, and then dicing them and chopping them. It was a family affair. We all got in here and cleaned and worked and peeled and chopped because we are expecting some of that really cold winter weather coming. So I didn't want to lose our sweet potatoes. Yes, I could have brought them inside, but I felt like when we bring them inside, sometimes we forget about them. But whenever we can them, then they're canned. We don't have to worry about them going bad, and we have less waste that way. But the same thing with the sweet potato peels and all the bad spots that were in it. We saved those and put them in Walmart bags. Yeah, Walmart bags. So when the cold weather comes in, our animals will enjoy a special treat. So here on the homestead, we always try to use up everything, and what we can't use, the animals enjoy. So I've already got one canner full behind me, the pressure canner. Everything's been done. I've already got my first batch going. This bowl is a huge bowl of sweet potatoes. It's already cut up and diced. So I just thought I'd bring you along. I have 3 more jars to fill up. I'm not even sure. You know, we may have to do a third run. If we have to do a third run, that's going to be 7. Three pressure canners full, which is going to take 90 minutes. See, I wrote it down. 90 minutes for quarts to pressure can it. And that will be 21 quarts of already diced up sweet potatoes. So it's a very simple process. Not going to be the most organized video, but you know, sometimes you just got to get in here and get things done. So what I do is fill it up. The jars have been cleaned and sanitized. This is the raw pack method. I'm not sure if it's ball approved or not, so don't quote me on that or take me to the bank on it. I'm not really sure, but I'm showing what works for us and the process that we've done. So I just shake it down. Some people tap it on the counter and then just kind of packs it down. So and I push it down a little bit, but I just try to get the air holes out of it before I get started. And you want to leave the 1-inch head space. So all I'm going to do is walk over here. You probably won't be able to see what I'm doing, but I put about 1/4 of a teaspoon of plain salt and just a touch of citric acid. I don't really measure it. You don't want to put a lot, and that's optional. You don't have to put it, but I find it does keep your potatoes looking really nice after they've been canned for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and finish filling these up, and then I'll walk over there and finish those in a second. Like I said, I wasn't organized for this video. I was just doing it, and I'm like, you know, I think I've mentioned canning sweet potatoes before, and it's been a little while, and I had never gotten to doing that that video for y'all. And it's, I mean, to me, canning is easy. It's just basically the same process as everything else. Make sure your workspace is clean. Make sure your jars are clean. Don't skip no steps. After we fill it up with filtered water, we're going to debubble it the same as you would with any other thing that you would can. Then we're going to wipe the tops off with vinegar. And then you seal them. And since this is cold pack, it's going to go into canner cold. So once the canner cools down completely, I'll have to let it cool off completely before I put the next batch in. But the good thing about doing the raw pack and the cold pack is I can go ahead and get all this stuff ready for the next batches to come. So that's just how I like to do it. Some people don't like this method. And the sweet potatoes, they don't look as orange right now. So what I do is do them the night before. And it kind of lets them sit out overnight because it's cool in the house. It's winter time. And let them kind of get dry, because when you put the water in it, it's going to soak up all that water and like rehydrate it. and then you get a better potato and it's not as mushy. Some people do sweet potatoes and they cook them and then can them. I find it makes them way too mushy that way. So by letting them sit out overnight, plus I don't have space to keep them cool in the refrigerator, they kind of dry a little bit, and then they rehydrate and they're delicious canned. Alright, I got one more jar right now, but I'm going to have a whole lot more potatoes. And if it doesn't make an equal 7 quart for a third batch, I don't like to run my canner unless it's completely full. And it is nice weather today, so I'm able to do the canning inside with the pressure cooker. Normally, if it's hot, we would do it outside on a propane burner, but I have a gas stove, so it's nice. It heats the house up while we're canning. And these sweet potatoes will last like indoors for us because we don't have basements or root cellars. But I find that, you know, like I mentioned before, sometimes we would forget about them and then you'd have some go bad. So I always like to put up a bulk of it in can them so that they're ready to eat, easy to cook, like in power outages, just heat and eat. And then I keep a bunch of fresh ones. I'm looking at them. I have a whole bunch right here on the side. I'll show you those in a minute that I brought in from the little greenhouse that we'll just eat on those fresh. You know, we'll be eating sweet potatoes throughout the winter. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish up over here. And I just put a tiny, I have my 1/8 measuring spoon, but I don't even put that much. I just put a touch. And it's optional. Sometimes I put it, sometimes I don't. And I put 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That too is optional. And I see my pressure canner is finally got that steam going. So I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. And then once it steams for 5 minutes, we're going to that was the wind blowing something outside. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Kind of made me nervous there for a second. So we're going to let it steam for 5 minutes and then put the 10-pound weight on it. And then we will process it. Once the jiggler gets steady and not too sporadic, we'll let it go for 90 minutes. So now all I'm going to do, you probably won't be able to see me, I have a Alexa Pure over here, water purifier, and I'm putting filtered water into the jars. Now you could also boil water and put water in there as well and boil it and then pour it in, but I'm doing it all cold so that I can have it setting out and ready for the next round to put it in the canner. So I did give it the 1-inch headspace, and then I will get over here and debubble it. I'll set it on this side so I know what's what. And all of my stuff's over here, so sorry, I'm not trying to put my back to anyone. And you just want to debubble it because, I mean, a lot of air can get trapped in there, and that's going to hopefully keep your jars from bursting if you debubble it. It helps, and plus if you can add any more water or take any water out, you can see how full it is. And I do apologize, my husband is working on building our little pig house ahead of the cold winter. Alright y'all, so these are the sweet potatoes that looked really nice, what I'm calling my baking sweet potatoes. They're all pretty close to the same size. Some are a little larger than others, but that's a huge bowl, y'all, and it's full. I'm thinking it's probably close to about 20 plus pounds of potatoes. And then in the pail here was all the ones that I called the soup and stew potatoes. So we have sweet potatoes everywhere. So I did keep some fresh, and plus I could use some of these for seed potatoes to start the process all over again. And plus we always miss a few sweet potatoes, so the bed actually kind of just replants itself. Now let's go on over here closer to where I'm canning and show you how the canner is coming up to pressure. I'm waiting for the jiggler to do its thing, come up to pressure. So that's going to take a few minutes. So I've already got the next batch going though. So this is the sweet potatoes. All I'm simply going to do, I have a clean paper towel. I'm going to dip it in vinegar. And we're just going to wipe off all the tops. 7 fit into my pressure canner, the quarts. So we're just going to wipe off these to get them ready. And I'm sorry my back may be turned to y'all again, but I'm just going to go ahead and get in here and do it. And some may say, well, why even bother? It's nothing greasy, but your fingers have oils on them. So you always want to make sure you wipe it clean. And even if you don't use vinegar with maybe water or something, I always use vinegar. It seems to always have a 100% seal. And I feel like the vinegar also sanitizes it. So if my fingers did have oil or grease on them, I just feel like it would take care of that, you know. And you do all this work, so you want to make sure you do everything you're supposed to do so that you have a really good seal. Now I'm just going to get my little magnet, get my lids off the water right here on the side, and drop them on top. Of course, I have some stuck together. I always crisscross them in the water, but they still sometimes do get stuck together. And I did use the wide mouth quart jars just because I had plenty of those, and it makes it easier to get the sweet potatoes out of the jars, but they come out pretty easy. So since I cold pack these, it's going to be perfectly fine for them to sit here and wait their turn to go into the pressure canner. It's really simple, really easy. I keep telling people that, you know, a lot of stuff that I do is very simple. It can be very time consuming, but you know, if this is what you do, this is what you do. Homesteading's not everybody's cup of tea. It just isn't, you know. And hats off to you if you are in a position where you can just go buy what you need. Honestly, I could do the same. But I know the benefits of growing my own food and processing my own food. I trust that my stuff's safe and sanitary. So, and no artificial ingredients going into my food. And plus, I know how I handle it. I'm clean, I'm nice, I'm neat, I'm organized. So, there goes the jiggler on the pressure canner. I'm going to turn it down slowly. And then we'll get to where it gets a steady jiggle about once or twice every minute is how we usually do it. So it'll do its little jiggle and then it'll stop for a second or two, or about 30 seconds I should say. And I'm just going to put the lids on, the bands on, finger tight. And slowly turn this down even a little bit more. Because it is up to the 10 pounds of pressure. So now I've just got to get the jiggler to do the steady. And once it becomes steady, then I can go ahead and set my timer. And we'll be going. And off to the next batch before you know it. So here's a close-up of the sweet potatoes, raw packed, in the wide mouth quart drawers. So I will bring y'all back when the batch that's in here is out so y'all can see how beautiful sweet potatoes look. Alright y'all, it has been about, I guess 90 minutes plus an hour, so 2.5 hours or so. Finally down to 0, finally cool enough to handle it, to get the first batch out. So what I ended up doing was I have one more batch of 7 quarts to go in the canner, and then I was only going to have enough to have 4.5 quarts to make the third run of the canner. So what I did was use pint-sized jars to make 9 jars of pints, so that I'd have one layer across the bottom. And plus, it's always a good idea to have a variety of sizes. You know, if you have company, you have more out, or if you need to just one person wants to eat and you still have a pint-sized jar, so it works. So we got a lot of cans still to go, but I want to bring y'all in to show you what they look like as they come out the canner, and we'll get started with that. And again, I do apologize. Now the 4-wheeler is out there running. We just finished building the little pig house, so they're fixing to move it. We put skids underneath it, but anyway. And these things are still extremely hot, y'all. They're still boiling inside of the jars. So I got 4 more to get out, but I'm going to go ahead and finish that up. But I just want to bring you along for how I can sweet potatoes. Hope everyone has a very blessed, happy New Year. This is what we'll be doing for the rest of the night on New Year's Eve, is canning way into the night, I'm sure. So be safe, have fun, and enjoy your time with family and friends. And thanks for joining me today. So farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.